Hello, Fraggle Talk fans! Joe from ToughPigs here. While Fraggle Talk Classic is on its break, we wanted to share a special treat with you. Over on another ToughPigs podcast feed, we're launching Season 2 of Fraggle Talk Back to the Rock. It's the podcast where we discuss the new Fraggle Rock series, Back to the Rock, with the talented folks who helped put the show together. We're extremely excited to share the season premiere with you here. If you like what you hear, be sure to search for Muppet Fan Podcasts with ToughPigs.com on your favorite podcast app. You'll get the entire Fraggle Talk Back to the Rock series, as well as a ton of other Muppet podcasts that you're sure to enjoy. Fraggle Talk Classic will return soon, but for now, we hope you enjoy this season premiere of Season 2 of Fraggle Talk Back to the Rock. Welcome to Fraggle Talk Back to the Rock, the unofficial Fraggle Rock podcast brought to you by ToughPigs.com. This is the podcast where we cover Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock episode by episode, along with the talented producers, performers, writers, and builders who help put it all together. I'm your host, silly creature Joe Hennis. Today, we are talking about Season 2, Episode 1, The Great Wind, in which things get a little breezy down at Fraggle Rock. This week, we're excited to welcome back two guests without whom this wonderful show would not exist. First up, he is the developer, executive producer, and writer on Back to the Rock. It's Matt Fussfeld. Hey, Matt.
Yeah. Oh, happy to be here.
I like to think of you as a developer.
Yeah, well, right, because this show was developed by you.
Yeah.
That is one of your titles.
Yeah,
I didn't know if that was important or not to mention in your intro.
No, it's fun.
I love it. We'll take all. Listen, we'll take all the credit we can take. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Of course, it's a collaborative experience, but yeah, we'll take any credit.
It is collaborative because your collaborator is another developer, executive producer, and writer on Back to the Rock. It's Alex Cuthbertson. Hey,
hello.
Alex.
Thank you for
having us.
Good to have
you guys.
Fun to see you.
Glad to have you both back here on the podcast. First of all, I have to thank you both for all the work that you've done on Back to the Rock. The fact that this show exists and that it's so good, there's no reason that either of those things should be true, and yet here we are. So thank you guys for bringing the show
nice
to our
of you.
lives.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for being such a throwing so much love toward the show and publicizing the show, making kind of engaging with the fans and the show, and making it such a part of the Fraggle fabric. That's the phrase I'm trying to say.
Fraggle fabric, yes.
Fabric. No, we're so I don't know. We love it. The show is such a labor of love for everybody who works on it. So, and like Matt was alluding to, it's kind of the most collaborative experience imaginable. So it's fun to get excited about. I think when it's your own thing, it's hard to not feel a little self-conscious about taking credit for something, and because Fraggle is so collaborative and so product of everybody that works on it, it's easy to just kind of get psyched about it and say, yeah, we love it, it's great.
And to that point, thank you guys. Like, I mean, you loom very large, Joe Hennis, like in our like, you are, like, I'm sure, like in the 80s, like when people were making stuff, they were like, what are Siskel and Ebert gonna think about our movie?
What's the thumb situation?
Not even BSing you that we're like, I wonder if Joe Hennis and his crew, because you are kind of, in our minds, you are like the leader of the Fraggle fandom, and we seriously, we thrive off of that, and I think that sort of makes it collaborative too. We're like, we are doing the show for you guys as one of you, so we truly love everything that you guys do too.
Oh, thank you. That means more than you know. The fact that
it's for real, yeah.
If I can't be there in Fraggle Rock in person, that the second best thing is that someone in the room is saying my name.
if we get, and I would say when we get a season 3, you got to come out. It's so okay.
100%.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'll start walking now. How far is it to Calgary?
It's very cold
to Calgary is an interesting walk. It'll take you through some emotional states. You'll be times where you think you're not going to make it, and then you'll get there, and it'll be all worthwhile.
Fantastic. Okay,
no, it's
your words to God's ears. I'm coming.
Unlike any other set visit experience, and like you got to do it. We got to make that happen.
Great. Okay. I thank you. I would love to take you up on that. That it's quite important to me that you guys get a season 3 that I can make my way there.
That's a Fraggle promise too, by the way. Like everything Alex and I do, we're like when we finish up work for the day, we're like, is that, I guess that's a Fraggle Tuesday. Like we have, but that's a,
like not working,
everything,
like working on other projects. Yeah. Not even working on
yeah.
Yeah. Like it's
Well,
become,
it started on Fraggle
yeah,
Rock, but
start
like
on
that's a
Fraggle.
Fraggle. Joe, you will come to set. That's a Fraggle promise.
That's a Fraggle promise.
Okay, deal. I'm in. It's a Fraggle acceptance of your Fraggle promise.
Okay.
Now, yeah, that's the full Fraggle.
So tell me, when did you both find out that Back to the Rock was renewed for a second season?
You know, it happened. I gotta say, I think we were preparing ourselves to not know for a while, and it did end up happening relatively quickly. I'm going back now to the premiere of the first season. I think it was within a month, right? About thereabouts, where we found out that a second season was really likely. And so we started to kind of, have we'd always had sort of low level creative conversations, like wish list stuff that we could do. But about a month in, we started to get rumblings. It's fun. It's a funny business. There's a lot of imprecision in our business where you start
Now more than ever, it's always been a funny
It's
business,
always
but it's
been
even
a funny
funnier
business.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's even funnier now. But there are a lot of just wind changes. Not to pull the metaphor from the second season, but you'll start to feel the breeze blowing one way or another.
Oh my
It starts to
God.
either not look good or look good. And in our case, it started to look good for second season. I would say within a month of the first season dropping on Apple, and then we got to ramp up the creative conversations about it and start, reaching out to the staff to make sure people were available. That's the other hard thing, because when you don't know when it's going to happen, you want to make sure all the people who made the first season great are able to come back. So we ended up getting really lucky that the staff was available and excited to come back. And, we had the same amazing group that we had from first season, and even got to the young woman who was our writer assistant got to join as a staff writer for the second season. So it really kind of was all the same family that came up to do the second season, and then we got ramped up and going pretty quickly.
That's great.
And
yeah,
we joined each other all in Los Angeles. Because we have writers in New York and writers in LA and even London, but so we all were able to gather in LA for just a couple of days of just fun big picture conversation, and then everyone retreated back to their home bases, and we did a 20-week writers room.
So you mentioned this writers room. Can you tell me a little bit about how you broke season 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think similar to season 1, we really wanted to start with a big physical metaphor that we could dive into. And season 1 is obviously all about water, and then water is used as a way to break down walls and interconnect worlds in new ways. And wind was something that really struck us this year as a way to talk about change. And I think that the big idea behind season 2 is sort of dealing with change, and how change can be an agent for really positive things, really good advancement, but it can also be really scary, and it challenges everyone in different ways. It brings out the best in some people and brings out the worst in others, and there are ways to confront all of that and move forward positively. So I think wind just felt like this perfect way to talk about all of that, talk about uncertainty, the world, do a big metaphor for climate change, and what young people and all people on the planet are dealing with, as far as knowing that that is a reality, but yet here we are, and on we go. So it's sort of like grabbing onto that as a positive metaphor. Not that climate change is positive, but that here we are together, and what we do within it can be really positive. So that was the big physical metaphor, and then we just kind of went from there to talk about what those types of stories inspired in people. And especially when all the writers got together in person, it was just sharing stories and laughing, and certain episodes came out of those first couple of days. I mean, like the I'm Pokey episode really in many ways came out of that day, and talking about really personal stories on staff. And yeah, I think that was
literally like one of our writers has a young son who came, like, was excited to go to the playground with a ponytail, and another kid was like, you can't wear a ponytail, that's for girls. And like that opened up this incredible conversation with this awesome group that eventually became Unpogie.
So it's like the macro and the micro.
There was something you were going to say, Alex, that the thing that Henson and Hallie in particular and Lisa really responded to as we started talking about it was kind of what you were saying, Alex, like this idea of, I think Hallie likes to call it like hope punk. like just like radical hope, like
radical
all right, the sky is falling a little bit. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, we're gonna be like hopeful in the face of all reason, sort of.
Yeah, it's like
And
it's also like the wind is such an interesting thing because it's like lean into it. You could stand still and sort of say, "Oh, all these things are happening," and then there's sort of like, "All right, what's my agency in that? How can I be a positive influence within that? How do I lean into that wind and then kind of create a new current within it?" So really, you can get
there's a
as
little thing me and Alex, like everybody in the business, like we were talking about, is talking about, oh, the business is changing, the business is changing, and there's so much the sky is falling type attitude from a lot of our friends.
oh yeah,
And it's like we've actually like like sort of like, are we like, our attitude is like, are we just we're doing the Fraggle Rock season 2? That's our attitude, right? Like things are different, but let's like we're just embracing that, and it's kind of cool.
it is really interesting that you mentioned that because Matt and I have worked together. I mean, we're friends from college, and we've worked together as professional TV writers now for like a long time now. It's now sneakily become a long time, and we've seen massive changes in that time. And so it really is funny to see the themes in Fraggle Rock, which are obviously echoing out throughout the entire world, kind of hit in this really specific way for our job and in our industry right now, because just the way, particularly writers, sort of approach their careers, it's changed so much, and it can be scary. It really can be. It's your
But
livelihood.
it's everything too. It's everything.
It's
It's like
everything.
kids with phones. Like
Oh yeah.
change is the only constant. But it does feel like this point in time is particularly accelerated.
Either because of a number of things happening or our access to follow everything that's happening, or a combination of both. It just does feel like we live in a time that is absolutely rocked by change. And I do think the way through that is to try to find the positive side of it in
The first thing is to just be like, all right, change is happening. Like
Yep.
there's nothing we can do about that. Now what? And it's like, we're all together. We'll try our best.
Matt,
like,
what's the thing you've been? Is it good that you kind of approach every?
Oh yeah. I had a a yoga teacher tell me this. He's like, what I think it's it's like the Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs motto apparently is like good. It's like the bomb didn't go. The bomb. I mean, like the bomb went off. Like good. Like the car broke down. Like good. And it's like, oh, I guess you're just like, yeah, this happened. Like, now what, basically? So
Yeah,
good.
let's put our skills to the test.
SEALs,
let's solve an issue.
I know.
Let's get to work.
I can't believe that's what you led me into, but
I'm so sorry.
you
No, I
tell me-
like.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
listen, it's like you can't.
I mean, if it's any consolation, I got that from a yoga teacher.
Yes,
so
exactly. Let's just stop.
It
at
was
yoga
very
teacher.
Fraggly. It
Right.
was like a Moki type. If I have a Moki type man who's just like very like he Anyway, a lot of the stuff comes from him. Honestly, a lot of Moki stuff comes from him.
Tell me what else from your background as a Navy SEAL you've used as a writer on Fraggle Rock.
Well,
Listen,
first of all, it's just about. I mean,
make...
Jim Henson created this show to start wars and kill people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
famously. Yeah.
Right. We're going to use our platform to really talk about how cool the Navy SEALs are.
So season 1 is all about water, and season 2 is all about wind. Does that mean that season 3 is going to be all about fire?
I don't want to say. Okay, listen, we talk.
Listen, we hear you. We hear. I go on Discord sometimes. Like I lurk around there. Like, you know what I mean. We understand the pratfalls of that, but maybe we'll see.
Yeah. Just like the whole rock on fire. That sounds like a great idea.
I mean, that sounds terrifying. 100%. Yeah, we've had those conversations.
Well, no, we did. You can think about fire in lots of different ways, but no, I don't necessarily know if it'll be as literal a third element as the first two were. But if you think about the physical metaphor of Fraggle Rock, there is something about how the earth, especially the earth beneath the surface, is interconnected in a way that lends itself to that sort of thing. And there's a timelessness to that idea. There's forces that are so much larger than our own tiny perspective on things. And,
Sure.
Wind and water really lend themselves to that. And so it kind of like they flowed, pardon me, naturally from one to the other. I don't know if we'll commit ourselves to continuing.
I'm pretty sure it's just going to be like Wembley, like leaving the fire department and joining the Navy SEALs, basically. It's going to be season 3, right? And them learning to let go and like, yeah, it's that kind of thing. And Wembley gets ripped and he's just like, good.
His new catchphrase, good.
Yeah.
Great. I think we just broke season 3. I think we did it.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this premiere episode. The episode begins. It is morning on Fraggle Rock. We open on Sprocket. He's taking a little nap. Camera zooms down to Fraggle Rock. We see some ink spots in pajamas, which is adorable.
Hey, come on. What are you going to not start the season with ink spots wearing pajamas?
Thank you. That's important to me.
Do what you got to do. Yeah.
I love those little guys. Barry Blueberry is there. He's announcing the morning. And we jump right into our first song. It is The Rock Goes On. That's from the original series episode, The Honk of Honks.
Yes.
Love this song. Great song.
It's a great song. I mean, talk about a song to just welcome you back. I think that's what we were thinking about, Johnny being, just one of the most talented people on the planet. He's one of the things he's a particular savant about is picking, just knowing the song for the most.
He knows.
Yeah. He's just like an antenna, and a signal comes through him, and he just knows which song.
He knows. And then, by the way, like the slight wind of change we're going to lead, I guess we're doing, is you just makes me think when you describe that opening scene already about this extra component this season, which was we had Jordan Canning direct, like really be just a huge presence there, and her and Johnny have such a shorthand. We have such a short. She's just, and so it's already the collaboration is beginning just in that she's like, I'm thinking like as we go down the caves, it just gets me how she wanted to stage that whole song.
Yeah, enough can't.
I feel like there was like a controversial. I feel like the Barry Blueberry thing was like a discussion, right? Like whether it was going to be like, do we want like, not from us. We always want Barry Blueberry, but like I feel like that was, I can't remember. I think
how
that
these
was
things
like
are. These characters you see them time and time again, especially in writers' rooms. There's like characters that you just fall in love with, and then you tend to like go to them too much because you're so in love.
We don't
with
want Barry Blueberry to be our Urkel,
But but I actually think it ended up working. I think you guys talked about this a bit in some of the reviews that I do think that there's like concern about whether or not he'd be used or overused, that sort of thing. But I do think particularly once in episode 202 in the Twisty Turnathon, once Sherry Contrary is introduced, I do think it kind of
really
reignited our love for that character. Yeah.
Well, and it's a good way to like you say, if you're trying to not Urkelize the show, to keep it interesting. You're not just hitting the same note over and over again with Barry Blueberry. You're not just having him come in and be like, we're going to do the announcer thing again.
Exactly.
Like you found a way to change it up a little bit.
Yeah. And there's a scene in the Mezzo.
My favorite Barry Blueberry.
It's just it's a very like, it's a kind of thing that passes by quickly, but we all loved it, which is just Barry showing up on a day he's not going to announce. He's just there as a fan.
To see Mezzo, he's just a fan.
He's just there to be Mezzo, and he's polite about it, but he doesn't really want to strain his instrument. He's just like
Johnny's doing Barry Blueberry, like you caught me like at the stage door, like not tonight.
Yeah,
I'm just here to see Mezzo.
It's like running into the weatherman at the grocery store.
No, I love that. Yeah, it's sort of like I'm here with my family. I'm here, like I'm here. I'm not mad that you recognize me, but I'm not going to perform.
Yeah. All right, I'll sign something. Yeah. I'll sign something quick, but just real quick. All right, one picture. Yeah,
because I do love it. Secretly, I love it. Yeah. Like I'm so like Barry would be devastated.
He'd be horrified.
Nobody didn't. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Him at the Mezzo show, devastated. Would not get out of bed for 3 days.
So this is such a great introduction to the new season, and I'm sure that's going to be hard for you guys as writers to say like, okay, we've already done 14 episodes of like, let's welcome you back to Fraggle Rock. How do we fit that into just 2 minutes here? And it's like already it's like you get Sprocket, you get the Fraggle Five, you get Ink Spots, the World Rules Fraggle, the Storyteller, the Doozers, Trash Heap, the Gorgs, everyone's singing the song. And the song's not so hyper specific to any moment that it's just like, we just like singing, and
it's kind of an anthem. Right. Yeah, it's a little bit of really like, it really in a way that we kind of did that in the pilot as well. It's like just start with a real. I mean, in the pilot it wasn't an original. It was a new song, not a song from the library. But this the idea of like, all right, what's a fun, just celebrate the fact that you're back in Fraggle Rock kind of thing. Because I don't know. Season twos are kind of interesting to approach as writers, and particularly the first episode of season 2, because there is a little bit of repiloting is the wrong word, but look, there really were only 13 episodes plus a holiday special, so there's a little bit of sort of saying like, all right, we're not looking to do a hard left turn here. We do want to welcome everybody back to the world of the show, and we want to be able to set some sort of patterns that show that, like, oh, like, you ease you back in. You're in sort of the hands of the show that you knew. But if you haven't seen the show, this is also a way to get acquainted. So it was meant to be really kind of a
Not
inclusive.
even like a cynically, not even in a cynical way. It's like these
Right.
seasons now with this business model and the streaming and everything, binge watching. It's like we're doing all right. Here's a new movie basically. Like, and yeah, it's a challenge for sure, because you're like, what? Like, I know I know all this stuff. Like, if you're like for the diehard, so not alienating that fan, but also like orienting yourself for what's ahead.
And then we made a couple of, creative choices too, which it's like you could feel you could feel any number of ways about, but we made a choice to repeat a little bit of the
Right.
vibe and pattern that the pilot established, as far
Yeah.
as Uncle Matt asking Gobo to go to outer space, and then doing an episode that kind of shows why Gobo chooses not to make that decision to go.
I
And
mean, even down to like the bit at the end where we're not skip ahead, but where Gobo makes his speech again that he's not going to go. And then we do the same joke, which is Uncle Matt saying, cool. Like when he makes this big emotional plea, like we did that on purpose, and like Alex said, yeah, it was a choice,
yeah, I think part of it is like, a little bit engaging with like what is this show, as far as like, is it a reboot? Is it a retelling? Is it a reimagining? Whatever. And there's a little bit of like stepping into the hard to pin down timing of Fraggle Rock. Has time gone by? Are we referencing the original series? No. Spiritually, yes. Are we recognizing that there are patterns they play out in Fraggle Rock? That there's going to be an ongoing dynamic between Uncle Traveling Matt and Gobo that's not just going to change from first season to second season. Totally. We wanted to keep certain dynamics as they were intentionally from first season to second season, thinking back on the original Fraggle Rock that maintained many of the dynamics throughout the entire series. We wanted to do some of that, but then also recognize that we're in a different era. We do more serialized and kind of arced out storytelling in these seasons. So we wanted to have certain patterns that we could kind of bring back and repeat while moving the needle a little bit as far as where the show goes. And then maybe when we start to get into seasons 3 and onward, we can start to take some of those dynamics and do harder shifts on them that we can actually dig deeper into. It honestly felt too early to upend a lot of those things, which is why partly I'm kind of skipping ahead, but why we reset Pa in this episode at the end of the first season.
Oh yeah, we have to really talk about that.
Yeah, we'll dig into it.
There's a lot to dig into.
Yeah.
I think there is, like, by the way, I mean, I do think, to Alex's point, like, that I think there was less, I don't know why, honestly, but like, it does feel like there was less pressure when you were a more traditional show, like the original version. Like, it didn't seem like there was as much, you could just kind of keep it going, like more and more episodes. Whereas this does feel like we kind of do need to set up these sort of arbitrary sort of beginning and ending points to the seasons, which is, again, it is what it is. This is the media landscape that we're in now, and like how people consume stuff versus how they used to.
Sure. Yeah. Before we get too far ahead, I do want to call out 2 shots from the Rock Goes On sequence. One is there's a great shot of Junior Gorg sitting with his arms out, and all 5 Fraggles are dancing on him.
Yes.
Which looks so good. It's such a great
really
image.
cool.
I love that. The other one is at the end of the song. So this whole song has like such a cool like gospel feel to it, and there's a bit where like we see the whole of Fraggle Rock and all the Fraggles are there, and there are Fraggles in the background being thrown, just like yeeted in the air. And I love the movie Blues Brothers, and there's a scene with James Brown where he's doing a gospel song and people are just flying 20 feet in the air just like that. That, I don't know if that was deliberate, but it felt spot on.
I don't know if that was ever discussed deliberately, but I love the reference, and I love and I also think of Ferris Bueller during the twist and shout sequence. They were flying into the air on that one that look a lot like Muppets. No, the Fraggle toss is like one of the best moves. I mean, I think we use it whenever possible. It's just so fun. It's always funny. They're little bodies. so funny.
Yeah, you have to.
No, that song is so great, and what you're pointing out with the the Fraggles dancing on Junior. There was a lot of stuff. There was an earlier version of the episode, just in script form, that was a lot longer, had a lot more early scenes between the Fraggles and the Gorgs, kind of about how things have changed, how playful they are together now. We had to end up condensing all of that into something you could understand immediately, and took no production and page time. So putting it into the song is kind of what ended up being the most natural way to do it. So we're just seeing them play, and it's a quick moment, but I do love that shot of them all together. I think it's so
all that is evidence too of like, I mean, geez, like that's like, all right, this isn't like starting fresh at all. This is episode like what, 14, 15,
yeah.
where now at the end of the last season, people were in the zone, and now, I mean, everybody is just working together to get those, that shot with them all on Junior's arms. Like, I can't even imagine. It would have taken like 4 times as long in the beginning of the whole production, and now it's just like they know exactly what to do.
I mean, all the kind of like comp stuff that they do, where those the puppeteering for the Fraggles is shot as the puppeteering for the Gorgs is shot, and then we do comp them live, and then of course we go back and post and make it the amazing team makes it look better. But
so much.
The rough version of what you're seeing is happening live. All those performances are happening at the same time.
All 5 of the Fraggles are being
Yes.
Green screened at the same time.
Yes,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's really quite cool.
You'll see. Fraggle promise. You'll see. It's very cool. We have like what do you call it? Like the blue box or something?
It was a cube. Yeah, it's basically this blue
cube,
box. It was full sided, like like the Las Vegas sphere, but for blue screen inside of it. And we could do all of our comp stuff there. So whether it was shooting like Mezzo and her band as full-size Fraggles that we then shrunk down, or if it's shooting the Fraggles in scenes where they have to be put into the Gorg's garden, all of that's happening kind of at the same time.
And now just really, they've got it down. I mean, you got like our VFX supervisor there, just like with his glasses on, looking at it. It's very cool.
That's cool. And that's good. Again, good collaboration. Everyone working at the same time.
Yeah. And it's such a,
I love it.
Such a makery show in that way, where everything is constructed. And even when we are using things like, obviously digital effects to comp them together, you're still doing it in the most sort of tactile and real way possible, where the Gorg performers are watching Fraggles on the screen being performed live, in their laps or on their hands or whatever it is. And so it's, it's pretty cool.
That is cool. Yeah. So everyone is so happy with the new harmony in Fraggle Rock. The dudes are the Fraggles and the Gorgs especially. Traveling Matt enters. He is accompanied by 3 ink spots dressed as Boy Scouts. Now, do you guys write this stuff into the scripts? Like there's ink spots there and they're dressed as
I wish I could take credit so badly for that one. I mean, sometimes, yeah, but not that.
Not that one. No. I mean,
who do you give credit to for that? Like,
I mean, it's the shop, so it's.
I know, but who specifically?
I wish I knew who specific. Like, Scotty. Who
like
knows?
It could have been Scotty. It could have been Jurgen. Like, it's dangerous for us, like as writers who hopefully will continue to work beyond Fraggle Rock. Like, you almost get a little lazy sometimes because you're like, oh, they'll come up with something fantastic. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, especially when it's like, it's such a good like physical gag that like there might be a moment where there's not a joke, but the joke is there's an ink spot in the background. And if you're watching it, then it's hysterical.
I mean, that's the joy of Fraggle Rock, is it's so silly, and it sort of like inspires everybody on set. And so if you look around in any shot, if there's a sign, like think about the artist who created that sign, and there's going to be some detail on that sign that's ridiculous and funny. And, I think everybody just gets so excited to kind of like hit all of the details.
Truly, those production meetings, I mean, are truly like just a yes and fest, and like just a joyful experience, which is not always the case on a TV show. Yeah,
not always the case.
So Matt is in lieu of a postcard, because he's there in person, he's telling everybody about his recent excursion into outer space. He found a farmer's market, and he brought back the sweet radish. Silly creatures called a strawberry, but sweet radish is the scientific name.
Sure.
Now, okay, so first of all, there was something, I'm not gonna say off, but odd about the farmer's market scene. And I think on this, my most recent viewing of it, I put my finger on it, which is everyone can see Matt. Like, there's always that question of whether he's kind of like, like, is he just kind of like under the radar? They don't notice him, whatever.
It's interesting. We've had this
go ahead.
conversation, and it's like, in the original, there are definitely moments where it's very clear that people can see him and are actually interacting.
Sure. Yes.
And I think that, we kind of rode the balance a little bit in season 1, although there's absolutely times like when he's riding around in the Zamboni, the people on the ice they're looking up at him, and they're, we had big conversations even just with sort of background performers about are they regarding him as an oddity? Are they scared of him? Are they like, what is the deal?
Yeah, and talking to Dave Goles and Jocelyn Stevenson also about like what the original sort of intent was. Yeah, there's not a satisfying answer, truly.
No, that's okay. Yeah, we don't need a satisfying
I mean,
answer.
it's a little halfway between, Muppet in the Wild, where, the public interacts with the Muppets in ways that are sort of like, depending on the gag, either straight up, hey, there, I'm talking to you as if you're a person on the street, or what are you doing here? You're ridiculous. I think with Matt, it's a little bit of both, where it's not like an alien encounter where people are concerned about it, but there is definitely his behavior, I think, is what we try to lean into as far as what people are reacting to, because Matt is a fool by design and, gets everything wrong. And, that's what we want people to be reacting.
I think that's right. That's like spiritually for sure where we come from. But then it's like hard not to get, I think I saw on Discord someone say, which I've said since the beginning, like, can you imagine Matt like going and getting a stamp somewhere in a store, or going to like a boxes, etc., like to send this back?
I have
what in the world
so many questions. How does Matt understand how the postal service works?
No, we've broken stories about that, and then
we just try and honor, like, okay, we really look to the past for that. Like, they seem to have their spiritual logic to it,
or
honor.
A suspension of disbelief. I mean, like, there's a part of it too where it's just like, all right, like, there's a little bit of like lightness to it, where like, if you dig too deep, you kind of, it's like when you look for the magic trick to learn the magic, you lose the magic. I'm not comparing this to the magic trick. I'm just saying, there's a little bit of like, okay, I can't overly intellectualize this.
What it really comes down to is that Matt is writing text on a postcard. Gobo is able to read it, but it's pretty clear that the Fraggles don't have a written language.
Yes.
Right.
So first we have to get through that barrier, and then we can talk about how the postal service works.
I like to think
between
the kind of stuff and nephew, there's a shorthand.
Yes. This is the kind of stuff that truly, would keep us up at night when we first started this project. And I feel like Dave and Jocelyn, they're just like, they have way where they're like, it's cool, baby, it's cool. It's, don't worry about it. Like,
sometimes it's nice. Run things by them. Just be like, how do you feel about this? This is our justification for it. And if they say, yeah, that's very
sounds good. Yeah.
Yep, that's great. That's
great.
Yeah.
Nice to have Dave and Jocelyn and also Karen Prell on board, who like, they can kind of give the whole like, look, this is how it was back in the day, and if anyone gets upset about it, you can send them to us. Totally. It's like, well, I'm not going to argue with Karen Prell. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, what she says goes. That's it.
Yep.
It's sort of like, if you need, like, as far as details from the first season, there's no greater historian and librarian and archivist than Johnny. And then as far as like the actual lived experience of creating the show, we've got, legends that are still heavily involved in this one. So we do feel it's nice. It's good protection for selfishly.
Sure.
Matt and I get a lot of protection from that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, my kids just want to know. They're like, I mean, they would always just want to know, like, what's Uncle Matt sending back this time? And I consider that a victory.
Yeah. Especially because of what he sends back at the end of this episode, which we'll get there. Yeah. It's the best one.
By the way, you noticed Matt Fussfeld at the farmer's market as a guy tasting strawberry?
How was it?
It was it was good. It was good.
A funny detail of that is like the weird mixing of worlds, where it's like, we're at a farmer's market, so we had real strawberries. Matt Fussfeld.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Yeah,
next to a very nice young guy named Jordan, who's an up and coming puppeteer. So they're eating the strawberries. There are him, but then also, if you look on the rack of berries, there are the Fraggle fake strawberries, because we need to establish that to bring it into the world, because we're not going to
that's kind
like,
of stuff.
Those don't look right together. That was just one. It's just a funny, like, you look at
that's a headline of like what I'm worried about on that day more than anything. I'm like, is this crazy that we're seeing this? And also, like, wanting so badly the bit of Uncle Matt being chased by a dog to play, but not having completely, we didn't have like an that was just someone's dog there, and like really trying to do it on the fly. But knowing how I would love that gag to play, and what we're actually able to achieve on the day.
But
But
then you're
it's
like, okay,
fun.
it's also part of
My
the
kids think
suspension
it's
of
cool that I'm in the show, so that's
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It is cool.
Yeah.
Alex is in a later episode, by the way, that you'll see.
my kids did go buck wild, by the way. I was very excited about it.
Oh,
I'm a
wow.
really Joe, my
That was like
cameo is
episode-
maybe not as pronounced as Matt's. I'm the guy sweeping up the gum wrapper in the episode about this for that. Behind
Plays a New York City janitor.
I'm wearing a
on
New
the
York
street.
City, I'm wearing a jumpsuit, but my kids did go nuts when they saw it. They really liked it. So
did they wonder, like, did you lose your job?
no,
Right,
you gotta
make ends meet by
that's
being a
really my
janitor.
6-year-old did ask me, like, were you doing that day and they just shot you? Like, were you doing that job? No, I'm doing this specifically for the show. But that's okay.
Amazing. So he brings back the strawberries to Fraggle Rock. Everyone loves them. Boober refuses to try them because they are a sponge of bacteria that everyone touched before it got to him. And you know what? He's right. You should wash your fruit before you eat it, so you don't know where it's been.
I remember going to jam band concerts in college where people would hand around like baskets of fruit, just as kind of like, hey, we're all sharing. I was like, oh, get that away from me.
Yeah.
People are disgusting.
Actually, I'm pretending like I just made a face there. Like I'm the guy at the jam band show. I'm like,
yeah,
thank
you
you.
need the peach. Yeah, you need.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you.
You would say your favorite Navy SEAL slogan.
Yeah. What are you going to turn down a peach when it comes to? No, but you're right. You're right.
You say good. Good. Yes.
Good.
Yes. A disgusting cherry.
Yeah.
Good.
I got a bacterial infection from it. Yeah.
Yeah. You get a little pink eye from the cherry, but the point is that Boober is correct to turn it down. But he's
100% correct.
He's also being a curmudgeon, as he does.
Yeah. There's a plus side to being a curmudgeon.
That's right. Yeah. Protected.
So up in outer space, Doc has made an important discovery. It's inside the Fraggle hole. What could it be? It's the exhaust fan that we've been staring at for years.
Yes.
Finally, a use for the fan in there. You guys are bringing it into the world.
And Lily is so good as Doc, and she's so funny in this episode. I mean, what an amazing thing as an actor to just, you're playing off of the cutest puppet of all time, but still, like, you're playing off of just a puppet, and and that's it. She's like alone.
She's just soliloquy city, and somehow makes them,
and it just comes off so endearing. And that could go a million different ways. Just a person talking to themselves in a room, and she's so great, and so like she just puts such joy and love into that character.
As soon as we thought of the wind, just like if Doc causes a windstorm by doing, like, almost immediately, like, that's what that fan is for, that we've been looking at forever. Yeah.
I do love that.
Got very excited about it. Yeah, we got excited. And then having those discussions with Tyler, the production designer, and like what that actually would be. And like, yeah, it's fascinating.
Doc talks a bit about she did such successful work last season. She got to meet the dean of her school, and there's a great photo of her with the dean.
Yeah.
And who is it? It's Lisa Henson.
That's Lisa Henson. Yeah,
Such a fun photo shoot. We did so many. She came to visit set, and it was super fun. And yeah, that was the pièce de résistance. But like,
I think we did write that one in. By the way, I think that was
the
first draft of the script was.
Who's going to be the dean of her?
Yes, dean Lisa Henson. Yeah, I was like,
But the fun, we got so many alts of like, with maybe like Sprockets there, like Doc brought Sprocket. So we had like a bunch of shots of like Doc shaking Lisa Henson's hand, and then Sprocket there too, like as if she brought her dog to college to meet.
He accidentally got into the photo. Yeah.
He's like, I'm not missing. You're getting like celebrated by the dean. Of course I'm coming. I'm in the car already. Yeah.
Her family, right? Of course.
Yeah.
I also just love the fact that Doc has this look on her face like she is not photogenic.
Yeah.
She's like geeking out over the dean.
And
Lisa looks so serious and stern. Like there's a lot of like what's the word like an air of importance to her.
Yes, gravitas. Yes,
the gravitas. Thank you.
And Doc's head is sinking into her shoulders. Like she just doesn't know how to stand in a photo, which seems really correct for that character. Just has no idea to be. Where the dean is just standing there, almost like a cardboard cutout. Like, take your picture with me, and the next person will take your picture with me.
I feel like I cut you guys off when you were about to like celebrate Lily more, and I shouldn't have, because
Oh,
she is
that's okay.
the best.
I was just gonna say the one thing that she does that I love so much on the show is how she's not afraid to be a little bit crazy. She's not afraid to, like, because like the old Doc on the old show, Jerry
Oh, yeah.
Park's character, like he was aloof. Like he
Yes.
didn't, like, there was so much that he just missed, and like he was very sure of himself. But this Doc is like, no, she's a little bit weird,
Yes.
and she owns up to that, and she gets things wrong, and she owns up to that, and like she makes funny faces in photos and treats her dog like a baby sometimes, and like it feels very real and funny. And not everyone would take it to the length that Lily Cooper does.
I totally
appreciate
agree.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right with you. Totally agree.
It's really nice to hear, because that is kind of how we're like, the central thing with that, when we started talking about this in the beginning of it, was the relationship with the dog. Like, how do you treat your dog? Like, you kind of treat it like a baby a lot of times. And
Yeah.
was that a criticism? I can't recall, of like the original, that the original Doc was a little bit like meaner to Sprocket.
He was.
Harsher.
So
Yeah.
we have another podcast on a different channel that we do through ToughPigs. It's also called Fraggle Talk. We call it Fraggle Talk Classic. And we're going through the old Fraggle Rock episodes, and they're kind of discovering as they're going through, like, Doc is borderline abusive to Sprocket.
there
Like,
are
he really
yes.
doesn't treat him well. And it's still fun and funny, but like that would never fly today.
It is an
We would not.
interesting thing, and it's like no excuse, but it is a little bit of a different time thing where I think I
Well,
don't
it's also that person, like, perhaps, like, that was an older person. You could see that
Yes.
relationship,
Yes.
maybe. Like, it'd be weird if it was like a young
Yeah.
person doing, like, you shouldn't have a dog then. Like,
Well,
No,
it's
but
never
I do think
intentional. He's
Yes,
never
right.
never like, oh, that darn dog, and taking a swing at him. It's like, he's not paying attention to the fact that Sprocket is so hungry and is holding his bowl up because he wants to figure out how to
Right.
sew a button on a fried egg, and he
Right,
just
I
can't get out of
remember
that
Right.
mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
That's, yeah.
So he's a
So-
little nutty. He's a little nuttier, and he's a little bit harsher on or harsher, or unintentionally sort of.
Well, by the way, like, if
about Sprocket's needs.
Sprocket is eternal and lives forever. So when this Doc is that Doc's age, I would imagine their relationship might more closely resemble that one. It's just the evolution of getting older.
And then
I
it's
think.
time for a new Doc, and that's when it's ceremonial time. Yeah, time.
We're gonna.
For a new Doc.
That's like Doctor Who. We're just
Yes.
gonna replace
Yes.
Doc
Yeah.
Yes.
13, 14, 15 times.
Oh,
that's
that's a good
crossover.
title
I can
for.
get
That's a
behind.
really good title for season 3, episode.
All right, that's for
4.
you. That's a freebie.
Yeah,
Take
thank
it.
you, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy. So Doc's new idea, because of this fan discovery, she's going to use the fan to study wind currents, and she starts to blow air into the Fraggle hole. And somehow, like that little fan with the exhaust fan, it's creating these incredible winds all through Fraggle Rock. Everything's being tossed around, and there's some amazing visual gags here that I have to call out, including
a windy Fraggle Rock, very fun.
A ink spot dressed as a cow, obviously a reference to Twister. Hysterical.
Yes.
We see a doozer flying around knitting in a rocking chair. That's got to be a reference to Wizard of Oz.
Of course, the Twister classics for sure.
You gotta. There's a doozer on a bike, which I assume might also be a Wizard of Oz thing.
Yes.
And a doozer in a kayak. I'm not sure what that might be a reference to, other than the fact that it's adorable. Is that a reference?
Karen
or is it just
Prell
like cool?
reference? Karen Prell's a big kayaker, right? Is it?
I think it's like also just a hint toward the world of the doozers that we don't see every day. They do but they have a whole life, and I think it's little casual glimpses of that is pretty fun.
We also see 4 ink spots, like all holding hands.
Yeah,
with
that's
the
like the
scarves.
skydiver routine.
They're skydiving.
I think that was one we maybe wrote into the script. We started. It's like you start to think about these things, and then you get them on their feet, and then everyone has a million new ideas, and then the whole thing comes together. But yeah, you start to visualize what a wind sequence would look like. That was one of them.
So with these 4 or 5 gags that just kind of go boom, boom, boom. Like I have to assume you guys had like 15 of them written out. These were just the ones that made it to screen. Were there other things you wanted to throw into the twister?
Well, I will say I don't. I'm not necessarily recalling specifics of things that we should. And maybe Matt, you would think of it, but I do remember that there were a lot of conversations about how violent to make this, because obviously it is like we need it. We're riding that line where it needs to actually be legitimately scary for Wembley in particular, but in general, it needs to kind of rock them a little bit. But it's also like we didn't want to scare chill. It doesn't need, the Wizard of Oz, like that scene is scary. It's still scary now when you watch it. And it's like we didn't want to do that. It's still Fraggle Rock. We wanted there to be a goofiness to it. That's why I think that ink spots coming in are such an important part of it. And there are characters that are kind of enjoying it, like Moki's kind of enjoying it, Poggy's kind of enjoying it. I think that was the line we were trying to walk of that. This is an event, a serious event happening, but it's not without silliness and not without kind of like fun.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to find for sure.
Well, as you said, Wembley is freaking out over this whole thing, and he's holding on to a moss-covered rock, and the moss just rips right off. It covers him. It kind of looks like a mix of a ghost and a parachute.
Like kind of a slime, like a Slimer kind of thing. Like
yeah, like Slimer.
Yeah.
It looks like stuff from the moss got onto it, so it kind of looks like a face a little bit. I'm not sure if that was something I missed of something else he was holding on to. And he pops up right through the well in the Gorg's garden, just as Pa Gorg is like coming out and questioning, is this a good idea? Wouldn't my father, Papa, be upset about the fact that we're friends with the Fraggles now? And he's like, give me a sign. And then that's when Wembley as Slimer pops up and screaming. So that's a sign. That's you've immediately at the beginning of this episode reset Pa Gorg.
Right. Which, like, again, was a choice. And, and not to in any way be defensive. I definitely know that, that we, you guys gave us a little flack for that, choice.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Just a little bit in a loving way, in a loving relationship. We need to be able to talk about these things, but and I totally hear you. But at the same time, I think with the reason we make the choice, and I think the reason we would probably make it again is that, Pa Gorg is thousands of years old. He's been taught a lot about what Fraggles are. I think there was a moment at the end of the first season where, he had to come around, and we love that he came around and had a new perspective on it. But I think in the nature of characters, he's definitely a character that's going to slide back in, and he's not going to change is going to be really hard for him. And the idea of a new dynamic with the Fraggles is not something that's just going to sit there easily for him. I think he's going to be looking for the very first excuse to go back to the way he was. And then we could set him up for a more gradual journey over the course of the season, obviously, as we start to get into who he is as a king, who Ma is as a queen, what their relationship is like, actually moving them into a new place toward the end of the season. But yeah, we really did want to intentionally quickly reset Pa at the beginning of the season. And that's when all the pieces started to come together of, okay, well, how do we get a strawberry seed up into the garden? How do we get Pa to shift back to his old perspective? And then the windstorm in Wembley and all those pieces started to come together of a mistaken ghost and Wembley carrying the strawberry up there. And it kind of was this very efficient thing. But I totally we hear the criticism.
Well, it's the interesting part of I mean, it's like if it's the interesting part of this format in general. Like if we had the luxury, if we were writing a book, like maybe we would spend like several chapters with Pa inside his head. But I think that's also like what's so great about this show is like that completely is what that guy would do. He would just be like, it's all very sped up, but it is like, oh yeah, I'm looking for an excuse to not accept these
Please
Fraggles.
give me a sign.
Yes. So it's almost, if anything, leaning into it a little harder. But
and a little silliness. There's definitely stuff that we do on the show that's like purposefully silly in its simplicity, like Pa switching back, like Pa's an idiot, and it's fun to think of him having these real hard swings in really, really silly ways. And it's also like why we kind of engage in real physical metaphor on the show and real kind of like literalism sometimes. I.e. the echo chamber from last season, which is another thing we've like heard flack about. Oddly more this year looking back on it rather than at the time. But the idea of like, okay, it's a literal echo chamber. It's like, Yeah, it's a literal
Yeah.
echo chamber. Like
I think
that's
it's fine.
Fraggle Rock, baby.
The phrase echo chamber is already a metaphor.
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean?
exactly
Like it's fine
exactly.
that you metaphored that. I do want to say about pot, I understand that Fraggle Rock historically, and this also has more to do with like TV shows that are a little bit more episodic than serialized
Yeah,
in general from that era. But like there is a status quo that we always have to kind of get back to at the end, and it's not really until the end of the series when the Gorgs start to come around. So
exactly. Yeah,
I understand there's a little bit of getting back to the status quo and definitely a lot of, well, where there's conflict, there's story. And so like you want to get to a place where like if everything's always hunky dory in the Gorg's garden, then it's almost too easy. We need to create some conflict there. The issue that I personally had with it was how quick that came. I wanted to see, and you guys talked about this earlier about you did have more of this in earlier drafts, but
yeah,
I wanted to see what does it look like that the Fraggles and the Gorgs are getting together,
yeah.
getting
No,
along before everything kind of goes to pot, and we have to take 2 steps back before we take 3 steps forward.
no, I totally hear you. And that was one of these like reality of production things. And that's what we wanted too, honestly. And I think it's what
Yeah.
everybody wanted. I think there was a literal number of minutes we could spend,
Yep.
and production days that we could spend. The Gorg's garden is really complicated for shooting, and so that we are often put in the position to find ways to simplify those stories. And I totally hear you. I think that it's like we kind of did our best as far as establishing the dynamic in the song, and then in passing with the Fraggles walking through and saying, value your friendship and that kind of thing. But yes, we did kind of miss out on the opportunity to spend, ideally you want like the first act to have a good meaty scene where you see what it's like, to have the Fraggles and Gorgs in harmony. And we did miss that. And I totally hear you. It's missing from the episode.
I mean, the real problem here is nothing that you guys did or didn't do. It's the fact that Apple TV only got 13 episodes of this
Yeah,
season.
exactly.
Yeah.
If there were 26, then you would have had plenty of time.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Then
I think that's something we value. Alex and I value a lot in our partnership is, self-reflection. Be like, all right, that's interesting. Like we learned something about this. Was the first time we ever did this, and would we do it differently next time? Maybe, maybe not. But it's like always taking these lessons, and like I think that's kind of the nature of being like any kind of artist, right? That you're constantly learning and improving and trying and just taking the lessons. But it is interesting, and we totally it makes me we definitely think about it and hear the reaction, but at the same time also stand by it too, of course. Like it's not it's not like we were doing it in a vacuum either. Like we always listen to sort of the feedback around us, and I wish you were there, Joe, I guess is what I'm saying.
Thank you. There.
Next time. No.
Only so that I could see in the corner when you guys are making decisions.
Yeah.
But I do think you're representing the opinion that we all kind of had as far as like the dream version of it, and I think that because of just like condensing and production stuff, there was a certain reality of needing to do all that a lot quicker. So we're like, okay, let's make a goofy benefit. Let's make it a goofy.
And also just not wanting to make like a melodrama, it's like I don't want, like that.
Right.
That's also, I think that's a big driving force behind what we bring to it. Is like we know what the ethos of this show is and spiritually what it wants to be, but like let's make sure it's quick and funny too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as ridiculous, I mean that's how you end up with Wembley popping up out of the well in a moss ghost costume saying like no, and like that's how you end up with that. And it's like, I mean, even saying it makes me smile, so I don't know.
I'm right there with you. Like I also don't
yeah.
want you guys to think that I'm actually criticizing.
Oh no,
what
we love
you put together.
No, this is truly, you're the only person we can have this conversation with.
Yeah, no, exactly. These are questions that are raised by the fans, and like there's always answers. There's always a satisfying answers to these things, but like we got to talk about this stuff.
No, for sure.
So Traveling Matt is so impressed by Gobo's bravery during the windstorm that he invites him to come out to outer space, as we discussed. It's doing it all over again.
Yeah.
So he's excitedly going to tell his friends, but Wembley is so shaken up by the winds, and he's clutching his little Wembley doll, which is adorable. And we talked about this last season too, but like, what a
Bembley,
great little
right?
prop.
Bembley?
And Bembley is probably
Bembley, yes.
probably one of the cutest
Yeah.
things on the show, I would say. Yeah.
I also wondered, is this like the Fraggle equivalent of the American Girl doll? Like, does everyone just get a doll that looks like themselves?
I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if Wembley's he's gonna bring that to the Navy SEALs. I hope they
Hope everyone's
go
cool.
easy on him. You know,
Yeah.
I hope they're not. Yeah, because I'm worried
Yeah.
about him in the Navy SEAL.
I
Yeah.
don't
Well,
know.
everyone in the Navy SEALs already has a stuffed seal, from what I understand. So that makes sense. That's why they call them that, right?
They give you one when you enlist. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only
That's
version
why
I want to
half
be a
the
part
people
of.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
I
you're
like the
lucky, you get
color
like one of
navy
those little
blue.
seals with the sunglasses. So cool.
Oh,
So
God.
cool.
Yeah.
Gobo asks Wembley if a trip to the trash heap would help. And I just love this scene. Wembley goes, maybe. And Gobo says, let's turn that maybe into a yay B. The B stands for Boober. And Boober is just like, what are you talking about?
Boober's like, leave me out of this. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but please keep me out of it. Yeah. We
good stuff.
Love like getting to like, I think that was born from watching Johnny perform all
I was
first
going to ask
season
that.
and then writing.
Yep.
It was like, oh, we know getting to know his voice and be able to write for it. And then, you know, Frank Meshkowitz playing Boober on set too. He's just got it. And it's very satisfying.
I love that. Especially, you know, I think one thing that I'm going to be trying to call out a lot as I rewatch this season for this podcast is specifically characters that are performed by John Tartaglia,
yeah.
and wondering, is this in the script or is this John just messing around on set?
He does,
and
so
this was one of those moments. I don't know, but
he's constantly bringing something to it. I mean, that's the thing about Johnny. It's like he can make something out of nothing. I mean, there are times where just because of the nature of how the show has come together, there might be an entire musical sequence where all we know is like the song is great and we know what story-wise it's doing, but he may in the moment there put together half of the elements or more than half the elements that you're seeing as part of that song sequence. And it's just Johnny being Johnny and being able to rally people really quickly. There is like as much as we are able to storyboard and plan, there is still so much, just because that's the way production goes, where it is doing things very, very quickly sometimes. And he's an incredible kind of master of ceremonies in that way, where he can.
I think we've really, I think Alex and I are a team, but the sort of partnership we have with Johnny is really awesome because he's there the whole time. So I guess the shorthand that we have developed now with him, it's hard just working those types of scenes out, that type of patter for Gobo. It's funny, like we'll send audio messages back and forth, or just I'll text him like, hey, Johnny, did like, what does the architect think about, did he watch the Oscars this year? And he's so like game, and he'll write back, did I watch it? And he's just, we have a really fun partnership with Johnny now that I think allows us to write a lot of stuff. And he comes up, I mean, it's just a great partnership.
It's mutually beneficial. We can try stuff on the page, and then he can take that and like take it into a totally different dimension, you know.
That's great and hysterical, and it's got to be so much fun. I love it.
Very fun.
So the Fraggles visit the trash heap. She tells them it sounds like the winds came from Whistling Hollow.
I think there's a bit right there, if I'm not mistaken, that Philo and Gunge are like,
yes,
they're like, oh, hold on, they're coming. Like you get like a tiny glimpse, like a half second before they like, oh, they're coming. Like,
right,
because and like as we'll see in a second too, like we kind of have to every so often remind the viewer why Philo and Gunge are there. They're not just there to like, pump her up, but like they're like, okay, like the Fraggles are coming, get ready, you're gonna do a big entrance. Or in this moment, Boober has a little exchange with them where he says, oh look, if she ever has any laundry that she needs done, he's happy to help. And they're like, that's our job. And he's like, I could tell. Get all huffy about it.
That's a perfect example where like that was the joke that we wrote, and I remember being on set and I'm like, it's pretty good, it's sort of working, but can use Johnny is Gunge and Dan is Philo, and I was like, can you guys just like really, really be offended by that, like even more. And that's that prolonged, like taking their time, like ah, ah.
Yeah,
Love
and
that.
including some sort of a sound that's like, it's like some sort of sound you can barely make, and it makes no sense, and it also is exactly right for the scene. So,
but like on its own, that joke probably is just stands okay, but that is what makes the joke, and like that's a perfect example of the collaboration, I think.
I mean, everyone is so playful. Everyone is just like, that's the whole thing. It's like everybody's just very playful and very down to just try stuff, and like everybody inhabits the characters, and you start to get these little dynamics, between the performers, particularly like there's some great duos, like Philo and Gunge, or on the Doozer side, Turbo and Wrench, or Architect and Cotterpin. You get these, and it's such a repertoire of players that come in and out, and they inhabit these two little dynamics as we go, and it's just very,
it's
very
funny
fun.
With Marjorie, like Amy Garcia is one of the funniest people in the world, but I feel like as I'm thinking about it, she is under such like duress to like operate. Like I don't think she gets as much freedom, like literally to play as much as she could in those scenes, because she's
also
just
Marjorie. Yeah, Marjorie isn't as goofy a character in that way too. There is like, Marjorie can be goofy, but there is always kind of like weight of wisdom there. So
that's a tough puppet to operate.
That's tough.
I feel like
that's
Ingrid and
they've
Kira
explained it.
Yeah,
they've explained it to me of like how that puppet works.
I've watched
and
it, and I
still
don't
can't
understand.
picture it.
Yeah,
no
Fraggle
idea.
promise you'll see it.
Okay.
And you'll still not get it.
You still won't get it.
Yeah.
I don't really.
Yeah, we've been around a lot, and I could not adequately.
I guess we could ask to get in it, maybe, but that feels like out of bounds. I don't think.
I mean, they're definitely inside of the
Yeah,
and they fold themselves down on the ground when Marjorie returns into the earth. It's just incredibly physical. I mean, all of the puppets are so physical, but Marjorie's physical in a very unusual way.
Yeah, I bet. I'm sure. Yeah. So we get our second song here. The song's called A-OK, as the Fraggles are getting to Whistling Hollow. Whistling Hollow is made up of all these upward-facing windpipes. Kind of looks like
a pan flute kind of thing. Yeah,
like a pan flute, like an organ or something. Yes. The ink spots are back. They're dancing with these multicolored umbrellas.
Yeah,
like the singing in the rain thing. And during the song, we see two older Fraggle Rock puppets, Mudwell the Mud Bunny and Aretha.
Yeah,
they're kind of mentioned in song. I'm sorry, I didn't write down the exact lyric, but something about like scary monsters, and they are two slightly scary looking puppets. Now, is this the kind of thing where like you guys would write that into the script, or is it just like find two characters that look a little scary and someone would just pull something that looks Fraggly?
I mean, that's the perfect example of like that's just like on the ground collaboration between all of us, and Johnny in particular, and the shop. There's a conversation between Johnny as puppet captain and the creature shop, which is unbelievable and kind of robust.
Scotty's kind of a historian too, right? Was Scotty involved in the first one? I mean, he just is a wealth of information.
But they have
about
so many characters there to play with, so there's always a creature shop walkthrough that's part of the production meeting process for every episode. So we'll do you do kind of what's called a concept meeting, where you're kind of talking big picture. All right, here's the sort of, let's all get our heads collectively into these zones. Here are the things we need to figure out. Then once you know what you're trying to figure out, then we break into departments and do walkthroughs. So maybe walking through the set, where can we put this? What do we need built? Is there anything we can reuse? And then you're like, okay, what are these musical numbers? What are the characters we want to see in them? And then we're breaking down the lyrics and looking at it. And like you said, that wasn't necessarily something we put in the script, but when you're looking at the lyrics of the song, you're like, oh, well, let's do something fun for this moment. And you're in the shop and you're looking around. Oh, perfect moment to bring out this old character. And so there's just a lot of actual physical interaction with the world of the show, which is always there on set, so whether it's on camera or not, everything is always there. We just have and then new things that we're constantly building. So there's an ability to be really nimble and actually physically walk through the universe of Fraggle Rock and pull things into moments as they are appropriate.
But I'm going to put my money that only Johnny would really know how to like land the significance of those specific characters. I'm going to bet. I mean,
Jordan Canning, who Matt was mentioning earlier, who is our producing director this season, and she directed this episode specifically, and many of the other amazing episodes this season. But she was creative director or creative consultant, director, producer for the entire season. she got really into pulling specific Fraggles for specific moments. I think she just likes it so much. She just has such like a fun, infectious joy with it. So I think, I think she and Johnny together were really active in making sure that the scenes were populated with really cool Fraggles from the original.
Nice. Yeah. In outer space, Doc has this new huge industrial fan, and she blows
from
wind.
The dude at the college, I forget his name, but yeah, the guy hooked her up with the biggest fan that they had.
It was Jerry.
Jerry, right, of course, Jerry. Yes,
Jerry doesn't play.
Reason was it a reference to Jerry Jewell, Jerry Nelson, or was it just Jerry?
I think it was a reference to both. Now that you remind me, I think So none of the names are ever random. So I think that's
nice. Good. Absolutely. I'm glad to hear that. Yes, she blows wind through Fraggle Rock again. Gobo's like, it's all fine. It's not a bigly diggly. But then once the winds start up, Gobo is thrown around like a rag doll, which is always fun to see Fraggles thrown around like rag dolls.
That was you build the scene out from there. Like, how do we get a scene where they're being thrown back? Yeah. And also one of my favorite lines, I think Gobo, I think you and I differ on what is and is not a biggly diggly from Red.
Yes. So after the windstorm, Wembley asks Gobo once again if it's all going to be okay, and Gobo admits he doesn't know. And Wembley actually feels a lot better now that he knows that he's not alone. All the Fraggles grab onto the moss like Wembley did before, and they ride it out like a parachute.
Right. And we like that moment because that's the moment where Wembley's like, we're not going to fight it. The fighting, maybe that it's a little bit of the introduction of what will become kind of a season-long metaphor is like, not go where the wind blows you, as Wembley explains in the next episode, but there is a little bit of acceptance and a little bit of like, of rolling with it that allows for some more freedom within the situation. So that was the kind of first version of that that we played with in this episode, where Wembley says maybe we don't fight it, and they just hold on, and all of a sudden it becomes like a parachute or like a little hot air balloon that carries them off.
It's a ride now. It's
a ride.
It's not a bug. It's a feature.
Yeah, exactly.
So once they make it back to Fraggle Rock, Gobo tells Traveling Matt he can't go with him into outer space. There's something weird happening, and he's got to stick around to figure out what to do with his friends. So Matt says, cool, as we established.
Right.
No big deal. He'll just take someone else, someone calm, someone
who could
serious.
That be? Yeah.
Who could it be?
Yeah.
It's Pogi.
I love Pogi's backpack, by the way. They created such a great camping backpack for Pogi with just all kinds of stuff strapped on there.
I share the Discord message board too of like, oh man, it would have been nice to have seen Pogi in outer space.
That's what I was going to bring up.
I know. Yeah. Like, that is a version of like breaking the rules that we did not feel comfortable with doing yet, but totally agree.
I know. It may have been worth it just for the joke. I think it's like, we're obviously building toward a moment where there's going to be a much sort of bigger interaction between Fraggles and outer space. And like we have a loose plan for what we want that to be, what we're building toward. And we just weren't, on balance. We weren't ready to do it. We weren't ready, Joe. We weren't ready,
Well, here's the thing. You're right. It would have broken some rules that would have felt really unnatural to have like a Traveling Matt postcard and Pogi is also there. Like that would have felt like a Poochie moment of like, we've got this breakout character and we want them to always be there and, give Traveling Matt a sidekick. We don't need any of that.
Yes,
I would have now, not to say I'm of the caliber of the rest of your writers, but if I were in the writer's room, I would have at least pitched like they make it as far as Doc's workshop. And then Pogi does something so unforgivably stupid that we have to send them back immediely.
No, totally. That's really fun. And, like you said, it's like we made, we have these conversations and we made the choice and we decided to lean into the kind of false ending and the flip joke of the first package. You know what I mean? It's like the downside, obviously, if you see him if you see Pogi, if you see them out in the world, out in outer space, then that they're going to get sent back. So I guess part of it was like, okay, part of the fun is just the surprise of seeing Pokey pop back out of that package. But your point is good, and I totally.
Well, I also feel like there's no reason that we can't have season 3 Poggy talking about their time when I was in outer space, because there was a couple of days, like they made it to the mailbox store before. Like it would be really funny to see like these insane glimpses of what Poggy was up to in outer space,
or a
in those few days.
Need to, for whatever story thing, I won't tip toward, but they need to understand outer space a little bit more because of a problem. Yeah, Poggy could have a perspective on that, and they should give a little, just a funny little story of being out there that we could see a glimpse of. I think it's a good.
Or at the very least, again, just spitballing ideas of things that are never going to happen because it's already done and filmed and out on the air. But in the first episode of the original series, when Matt goes into outer space for the very first time, the first thing, all he does is he walks outside. He has a weird encounter with a fire hydrant. And he's like, this is way too crazy. I'll just tell Gobo I'm fine. So like to do something like that where Poggy is like the craziest thing happened, and literally you made it as far as the sidewalk before turning around, and you're like, I had this crazy experience out in outer space,
like none of that happened.
No, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
So we get a little tease for what's coming up in the rest of the season. The strawberry that Wembley dropped in the Gorg's garden is starting to take root.
That's exactly how strawberries work, by the way. That's exactly how you drop them in the soil and they immediately start to, listen. Hey.
One of our ADs, Emily Renner Wallace, came up to me and was like, I have to show you something. Like, here's a Wikipedia page about, are you worried? I was like, oh boy. That was a real emergency moment.
To that we say, not in the Gorg's garden. There's something going on in the Gorg's garden that allows the seed to be kind of like pulled from the.
It's like Lost, the island of Lost. Things don't work the same. Yeah.
Well, and it's not a strawberry. It's a sweet radish. It's a totally different thing.
Right, exactly.
Totally. Yeah. There was like a little like, oh God, I don't want to be teaching kids like the wrong lesson here, but
I think that is real. Obviously, there's the part that's really important. That strawberries do grow like weeds; they do take over.
Yes.
So like that part of it is real. It's not exactly how they would take root in the garden, but listen.
And aren't strawberries the only fruit that have the seeds on the outside? So it maybe would take root a little bit faster.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Decompose first. I don't know.
And there was residual Gorgamax that was already in the garden from.
Yes.
Oh, of course, the Gorgamax. Yeah. The Doozers are starting to build wind turbines.
Yeah.
That's going to take us through the season as well. Doc is keeping on with her research on wind power. And then, as we just discussed, there's a tag at the end where Gobo brings back his first package from Uncle Matt. Postcard just says, "Dear nephew Gobo, it was a mistake." And there's Poggy back in Fraggle Rock. Yep. And that brings us to the end of season 2, episode 1. Do you guys have any other reflections on this episode? Anything else that stood out to you that we maybe didn't get to?
No, I think, just talking it through, it's fun to remember all of the wild times of the writer's room coming together, early conversations with the production designer, early conversations with, everybody involved about sort of the ambition for the season. And I do think that, it's fun to remember starting that journey, and rewatching this episode definitely had that effect on me.
Remember, Alex, like, I feel like the most LA moment of all time was Tyler Heron, the production designer, was in LA, I want to say, for the Emmys. Maybe it was something else, but we got together with him.
I think it was something.
And we were poolside, and we were like, we're thinking about doing like a wind theme season. And he was just immediately like, I see he has a very deep voice. He was like, I see that big
turbine,
turbine in the Gorg's garden. And just, it does bring back good memories.
It's such a journey, and there's so many places.
And really, that thing truly of like everybody, like the bat signal this time, it wasn't like putting together the new team. It was like, we got the green light. Oh, here we go. Like now we just got going before. Now it's really get going.
Yeah. And it's fun to just remember how much everybody loves working on the show. It's such an incredible crew in Calgary, and so many talented people that come together. And I think to a person, you just hear over and over again, like how this is everybody's favorite job, and it's our favorite job too. So it's really it's something special. I hope we get to do more of them. I feel like we will.
We hope so too. It's actually very important to me that you get to do more Fraggle Rock.
Yes.
So
Especially
fingers
now
crossed.
that you're coming to Calgary. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now that we've said it, it's not going to happen.
I know.
Yeah.
No, you're not coming, Joe. Forget it. You can't come. Right? Yeah.
So much for Fraggle promises. Jeez.
Yeah.
So, Matt and Alex, as we're wrapping up, an important question to ask both of you. How do you plan to make this world a little fragglier?
Yeah, it's such a good question, because I think it's like, everything we do in the show, we try to sort of have it mirror actual kind of human interaction with the world. And, I think being out in the world, finding the silliness of regular moments, Matt and I have pretty small kids, and I think when I'm out in the world with my kids, trying to find the joy and silliness and how to make the like little chores into games, I think is like a little thing that you can actually spread a lot of joy. And how you interact with people, like I think we live in times where people are very siloed into phones and other things, but you forget that when you're out in the world, you actually like look at somebody or try to make somebody smile or try to have a moment that just has a little bit of levity, lightness, silliness to it. That's so fraggly. It's such a fraggly idea that you can easily write off, but it actually is so meaningful because it can change the trajectory of your entire day. And I feel like it's just like trying to remember the playfulness of it, that, I think so many adults, and we in some ways live in unimaginative times where people get so kind of like caught in their points of view and are unwilling to think of other perspectives, where it's really like, be playful, like think about things another way, try to think about the just the world as an endless possibility for fun and delight and creativity and all of that. And that honestly is something that's like you see in small kids and I see in my small kids. And when I remember to do it myself, I have more fun. People around me have more fun. And it feels very, feels fraggly.
Damn, that was good. That's basically what I would say too. Honestly, I mean, kindness and empathy, and we're just so lucky to work on a show about that, but made by people who walk the walk from top to bottom. And we're just very grateful to be a part of that. And I guess it kind of is a reminder that you think of the episode with Doc doing the negative self-talk. It's easy to negative self-talk to yourself, and Fraggles are just such a great reminder. No, don't do that. Like, treat yourself like a Fraggle. It's a Fraggle Tuesday, it's a Fraggle promise. Be kind, be empathetic, slow down, make a game out of something, even like a chore. And just really find the joy in life, in small moments, and in the people that you love.
Yeah.
Did I do it?
No, absolutely. Love
that. That was great.
Good.
Fired up.
Thank you guys. Well, listen, thank you both for joining me on this Fraggle Tuesday. It was such a joy to have both of you, Matt and Alex.
Likewise.
And thank you again for all you've done to bring Fraggle Rock back into our lives.
Right back at you. Thank you for all the love you breathe into the show and into the world of it. And
who you are? You're our here's a deep cut. You're our Harry Knowles. Whatever happened to that guy? Remember that? AintItCoolNews.com? Do you remember that?
Yes.
You were too young for that. Yeah.
No, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to him. He doesn't work for me, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. He didn't get invited to Calgary.
No, he didn't. No.
Well, the point is, we
promises for him.
You very, very much too. So thank you. We really love talking about this stuff, and just really appreciate the opportunity.
Of course. And here's hoping we get to talk about it some more real soon.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Fraggle Talk, the unofficial Fraggle Rock podcast, is brought to you by ToughPigs.com. Produced, written, and hosted by Joe Hennis. Fraggle Talk art by Dave Holteen Jr. Fraggle Rock mark and logo, characters, and elements are trademarks of the Jim Henson Company, all rights reserved. Transcripts provided by Caitlin Miller. Fraggle Rock theme song, written by Philip Balsam and Dennis Lee, is used with permission. Special thanks to the Jim Henson Company, Apple TV Plus, and the entire Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock family. Be sure to follow ToughPigs at ToughPigs on all social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and please consider supporting us on Patreon or by buying merchandise on TeePublic. For more Fraggle podcast fun, listen to Fraggle Talk Classic on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time down at Fraggle Talk.